Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome in, Game Time Decisions, live with you here on a Tuesday night. I am Kevin Walsh. We are on SportsGrid for the next 90 minutes with plenty to get to. And at some point, you may need handy a list of the top 6 rushing offenses for this upcoming season. So sit down, piece of paper, and in the middle of getting some picks in, figure out who the top 6 rushing offenses are in football. Number 1 shouldn't be hard to figure out. Oh, there's going to be some takes out there. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you people in Baltimore. All right, let's get in the mix here. Major League Baseball board delivering once again on a Tuesday. We had a lot of fun with yesterday's slate. Wheeler was going. Skeens was going. More Blue Jays Yankees. We get more Blue Jays Yankees today. Ohtani gets the job done at the dish and on the mound despite that home run by Byron Buxton, which feels like it's still traveling. Yes, I know Ohtani's went further. No, I don't really care for your facts and stats right now. We've got a baseball board, though, that begins in 7 minutes. So let's get involved here with some best bets from our team as they are dialed in on the Major League Baseball board. But you see some WNBA love as well as the W is back tonight. We're going to have Coach James Young stop by and get some picks from him on tonight's WNBA slate. That's where I'm headed for a best bet. Team total over for the Chicago Sky, 71.5. We'll talk more about that with Coach. Yarnell lays the 3 with the Mystics at home against the Sparks. I think that's a nice look. Casino Chris, it's 2+ hit run RBI for Manny Machado. Under the hat, Angel Martinez, dance partner. Don't be scared. And if you're asking which team, good question. You're going to have to Google it. That's what I had to do. Cubs laying the run line for AJ. Not mad at it. The Cubs go up against Rich Hill. Rich Hill called up at the young age of 45 to make a start here for the Royals. I can't figure this Royals team out. I thought they were terrible last year coming into the season. I was wrong. They were in the playoffs. Then they got hot in the beginning portions of this season. I thought they were awesome. I thought they had juice. I thought Jack Caglione, when he got called up, was going to be a superstar. He stinks, let's be honest. This guy's batting sub 170 right now. I don't know how that's going on, but it is. It's not great. Batting 149. Woo! That is not good. 21 to 141 for Jack Caglione. At some point, I'm sure he'll turn it around. I am also going to play a little Cubs tonight in the simplest parlay possible, but a 1-2 Cubs-Rays moneyline parlay, which is plus 103. Rays got absolutely rocked by the White Sox yesterday because the White Sox have won every game post-All-Star break by 5 or more. With Rasmussen on the mound, it feels like a bounce-back spot. Boyd up against the Kansas City Royals. I think that's a bounce-back spot. So that's where I had a moneyline parlay. 4 other picks. Went with a couple of unders here. D-backs, Astros under the 8.5. Phillies, Red Sox under the 8.5. I really like the spot for Chris Sanchez, who goes for Philadelphia. Early portions of that slate, we have a plus 110 money line on the board for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I want to make sure we don't have any of our home run picks in that 640 window. I think we may have one at 645. I know there's a play on that card I didn't mention yet. I'm going to get to it in a second. Let's get to the home run picks here quickly. I'm going Nico Herner. We're fade. Listen, it's Fade Rich Hill Day, evidently, on the show. We're getting plus 870. These prices are even juicier if you slap a boost on them. Francisco Alvarez plus 560 for Chris as the Mets look to beat up on Kyle Hendricks. That game to me looks like it could have runs. James Wood gets the call from Sam Yarnell going up against Chase Burns. Chase Burns, look, he's not going to win NL Rookie of the Year, but the strikeout stuff is legit. I think that he could go for a big strikeout game once again against the Nats. And then Josh Lowe for AJ and Tampa Bay. So that's where the tanks are on this Tuesday. Now, there was one play from my 5-pack baseball card that we did not get to yet, but it ties into our main event. And the main event on tonight's Major League Baseball slate across all sports, it would be the 11 straight winning, best record in Major League Baseball, Milwaukee Brewers, looking to extend that with Jacob Mizorowski on the mound against the Seattle Mariners on the road against Logan Gilbert, entering as a dog. I imagine that there are some folks out there who have just woke up, bet the Brewers, and put that song on repeat for quite some time. Because this team has been an underdog for a decent portion of this slate. The very first win was against the Miami Marlins on the roads against Edward Cabrera, who is in a decent spot against the Padres tonight, but again, too expensive for me on Miami. I imagine you saw the Brewers an underdog in most of the games against the Dodgers, probably more so booked as favorites against Washington, but a dog to start this series against Seattle, dog when they were going on the road against the Dodgers, a dog here tonight, and yet they continue to get the job done. So I thought all of that combined with Mizorowski allegedly being a big name, I was going to get myself a pretty good moneyline price tonight on Seattle. Minus 126, that didn't move me. I didn't feel as if I was selling top of the market on the Milwaukee Brewers, but I like the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. Logan Gilbert's been excellent thus far in Seattle this season, pitching to a sub-2.4 ERA at home. And Jacob Mizorowski, small sample size, but absolutely rocked in his 2 starts that he's made outside of Milwaukee. I know that that's inflated a bit by his trip to Queens, but nevertheless, that's what the numbers are. I also don't think Jacob Mizorowski is as good as Logan Gilbert, and I don't think anyone would crush me for that take. So, in an attempt to find value, a bigger number, I laid a run line tonight at plus 177. I thought that was worth it. I understand this is expected to be a low-scoring game. Totals bouncing around between 6.5 and 7. I'm laying the run line with the Mariners. Maybe they win this one 5-1. I think that's on the board tonight for the Brewers. Yes, that would also then be some alt run lines if you were so inclined. That is where my Major League Baseball slate is tonight. I'm trying to see. We have our home run picks. Is there anything that I am missing off the top here with this Major League Baseball? Oh, you know what it is? It's just the Brewers run as well. The Brewers, here is an interesting exercise. Match the Milwaukee Brewers up with the Toronto Blue Jays and figure out which team you would rather have a ticket on to win their respective pennant. The Brewers number is down to plus 750. The Blue Jays number is down to plus 650. At the moment, when you go into the divisional odds, the Blue Jays became favorites to win their division just yesterday. The Brewers are still behind the Chicago Cubs. The sell, though, the case to make on Milwaukee, it's that they actually seemingly have the level of pitching, or at least you could argue they have the level of pitching that you want for a team to make a run. Mizorowski is supposed to be ace level. Brandon Woodruff's been awesome since he's come back for Milwaukee. And Freddie Peralta sits at the top of this group as a guy that you typically can rely on as well. And the Brewers are currently sitting with the best record in Major League Baseball. It's a fascinating start to the season. We're going to bring some WNBA into the mix. We're with you right here on GameTime.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, we're locked in with you here. It is Game Time Decisions. The Major League Baseball board, it's off and running. Guardians, Orioles, Pirates, Tigers, and then we've got the Miami Marlins and the San Diego Padres. We will soon see the WNBA slate join the action here as the W is back underway at 7:30. We get the Mystics and the Sparks, a couple of games at 8 o'clock. To help us break these down, it's Coach James Young. JY, always good to have you here on Game Time Decisions. How are you feeling? You look a little all right.
All right. My man is in all black. Someone's funeral tonight because Kevin looking shocked in all black.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, JY. I'll tell you, we've got ourselves a good WNBA slate here. There are a ton of conversations going on around the W right now. Those are conversations, though, that are pretty simple. What I would say is there are certain places you shouldn't look for those conversations. And if you are going to look for them, Coach, if he handles it on the BATR podcast, maybe Coach and I this weekend. But there are certain places that are very obviously not going to do those convos justice on something that doesn't need to be really even all that complicated. With that said, JY, let's talk some basketball because I'm going to go to the big action right away, or what was supposed to be the biggest game, the Liberty and the Fever. Still no Caitlin Clark, though, for Indiana. And I almost feel as if now, because the groin injury now appears the second time, I feel as if we're in a no timetable situation for Caitlin Clark, where I don't imagine this team. So the last go around, for example, she was she played on the 24th and didn't return until the 9th. I don't think that's a guideline. I would imagine it's longer this go around to take extra care of their best player.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Kevin. And to me, it's kind of like what we see tonight in the action with obviously Jonquel Jones. They took their time bringing her back from the ankle injury, which she rolled the second time. Jonquel Jones has been cleared and in the lineup tonight for New York Liberty. Another reason why I'll say right off the bat, I like the Liberty minus the points. We're by 21 last time out. They've covered 3 straight, Double J in, CC out. I like the Liberty tonight, but listen, Kev, at the end of the day, I know we've talked about it on our show. She is the cash cow. We get it. But Indiana's got to do right by this kid and make sure they get her back healthy for a playoff run. So I think they're hoping that they hold themselves above water. Remember, I think they have the 3rd toughest schedule the rest of the way. So they want to just hold it above water until they get CC back. But tonight, like the Liberty, minus 11 points. And as for a prop, Leona Febic over 8.5 points. She's gone over the last 3 games, Kevin. And when you really think about Leona and how she's played, if I'm Indiana, now Double J's back. So now I got to make sure I worry about her as well. So Phoebus becomes open at that 3-point line when she shoots the ball well. 4 of the last 6 Liberty wins, she's gone over 8.5. Here's a good one. When they've won by 15 plus, remember last time they won by 21, she's gone over 5 out of 8. So that even means in blowout games, she tends to get to that 8, 9, 10-point mark. I think she goes over 8.5 tonight.
Joel, let me just stick with this game for a second. The New York Liberty made some moves that maybe will fly under the radar for some. It did move their number a little bit, though, in the championship market, down to plus 145. Just give the people an idea where you are at right now on the current New York Liberty roster.
All right, let's put it this way, Kevin. Let's put it this. Jonquel Jones is 6'6". Naira Sablé is 6'5", right? Stewie is 6'5". Leona Febic is 6'4". And they just put in Emma Messerman, who was at the 2019 WNBA Finals MVP, 2-time All-Star, 12.4, 5.2 points per game. Ridiculous. I talked to a good friend of mine, Brian Lynch. Brian Lynch, former player of Villanova. His wife is Kim Kleisters from Belgium. Her daughter Jade is part of the under-18 team. He's like, she is going to help them because she was in the pool with them as Jade was playing, U18 FIBA. So to me, this is another mark. But then they went and got the Talbot kid, right? So now New York, when you thought about New York last year, was they're too top heavy, right? So now you start, obviously, Natasha Cloud, Sabrina Ionescu at the 1 and 2, Leona Febic, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones at 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", front line, right? And now you bring Naira Sablé off the bench, 6'5", Messerman, who can play 3, 4, 5, Talbot can play the 3, Burke is like a stretch shooter. They're now the deepest team in the league. And here's the biggest part that people need to understand. The 2 other finalists for Emma Messerman were Phoenix and Minnesota. That tells you the impact that this kid would make. From plus 150, plus 180 to plus 150. When you and I talked yesterday, down another 5 cents. Liberty are the best team in the WNBA, especially now that Double J's back. And she's the key if they're going to win a championship.
Quick, again, because JY is going to stick around, so we have time to get to the other games, JY. From a betting perspective, though, so they should be the favorite, right? Okay. Would you say for anyone who's missed out on the plus 180, hey, plus 145 is still a good number, or you can wait a little bit. Let's see how they all mesh. Where are you at on the actual price of the Liberty?
I would let them see how they mesh. Here's why. They also played the Minnesota Lynx 4 times the second half of the year. So if they lose a couple against Minnesota, remember, Minnesota played them tough, beat them in the Commissioner's Cup final in New York last year, and we all know, interesting call down the stretch of Game 5. Could have went the other way. The Liberty could have easily lost that game in the finals. I would wait this out a little bit because also Messerman has to go through the visa process, Kevin, and you know that ain't going to take a day or two. That could be a week. That could be 2 weeks. That could be 3 weeks. So she's not going to be on the Liberty for the time being.
They interest me because if they get on a run with just John Quell being back, JY, it could get to a minus price. But you know this. There are still, I know this is going to sound crazy to say about the defending champs, but there are some postseason questions relative to the price that are going to give me some hesitation on this group at the current numbers. We're going to take a quick break here on Game Time Decisions. Coach is going to come back. We've got Mystic Spark, Lynx Sky, Ace's Dream, and then late night Paige Beckers in action against the Seattle Storm. We'll break that down right here on SportsGrid.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is, if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient, because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me. And I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him. And I've settled on, what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Decisions. We're back with you on SportsGrid. We're going to go through this WNBA slate. We're going to go in reverse order. I promise there's a reason, but if we do it the other way, we actually may not get to any of the games. JY, Seattle and Dallas, Paige Beckers in action. What are you expecting out of the break here from one of the league's superstars? What do you expect from the game overall?
Listen, Seattle's been kind of up and down as of late. They had that rough loss at home to the Washington Mystics, who we'll talk about in a little bit. 9's a lot of points for a wings team that kind of hangs around more. So I have no action on this game. But if I was leaning anyway, I would lean with the points and Paige over PRA because I think she's going to go on herself on a nice little run in the second half. She's been really good since she got back from injury.
Fair enough. JY, Ace's dream, I think Jackie Young is currently listed as questionable, but if she plays, you're interested in backing her in this game?
Yeah, I like her over 3.5 assists. She's gone over 5 of the last 8 games. 2 of those games she missed by the hook. If you really think about it, 5 out of the last 6 at home she's gone over. And now Ace has gotten going a little bit, so Jackie Young could be a little bit more a distributor, right? So 3.5 assists is a low number. I know it's a lot of juice. I might have said about 145, 146 I saw earlier in the game. But I think if she plays, that's where I look at Jackie Young over 3.5 assists tonight.
All right, fair enough. I'm interested to see how Vegas comes out of the break. It's a team who's going to need to start stacking wins. The line almost does say Jackie Young will miss this game, but it's always interesting to, she was in the All-Star game to potentially not be injured. Would be interesting. Link Sky here. JY, I'm on Chicago's team total over, actually, the 71.5. They've gone over this in 8 straight games that Camila Cardoza and Angel Reese have been in the lineup together. Now, no Ariel Atkins could be what's providing the value here, but I think I'm getting a low number at 71.5. This is a Sky group who I think offensively, at least, JY, have started to figure some things out.
And really quick, a reason why that Atlanta game is also funny, folks. Remember, Ryan Howard, who missed the All-Star game, is out for the rest of the month due to injury. So no Ryan Howard for Atlanta, which is interesting because she's become that 1-2 punch with Alicia Gray. But when you come to this game, it's like you go one way, I go the other way. You went team total over from Chicago. I'm going team total over from Minnesota Lynx. It's at 88.5. Listen, it's weird, Kevin, because they played. This is going to be the 4th time they've played in about 3 weeks. 80, 81, 91 points. It's a poor defensive team. They're going to be able to score. I'm going over 88.5. If Kevin's going over his number, then maybe the best way to play it, folks, is just take the over because we think each of us think one of them are going over. If they both go over, then the game sails over it.
100%. Also, I'll listen. Sometimes we miss things. I did not realize that Ryan Howard was out for that game. You're telling me Vegas in their own building is only a 1.5-point favorite against a dream team who's not playing with Ryan Howard?
Yeah, I mean, that tells you how much. And Kevin, the crazy thing about it is, I almost on the podcast yesterday said I'm going to take the Aces on the money line because before this with Jackie Young it was 2.5. I was like, money line. I think it was like minus 155, 160. I was like, I'll lay the juice. But then now I waited to see Jackie Young may not play. That moves it back. And I think a lot of people may be in that wait-and-see mode with Vegas because we know what they're capable of, Kev. They just haven't shown it yet this year.
It's going to be an interesting one to follow. All right, Joe, talk to me. Mystic Sparks, what do you like here? Our guy Sammy Yarnell's laying the 3 with Washington. How do we feel?
Yeah, Sammy Yarnell, the big Washington fan. I'm going over 167.5. It went 179 last game. Sparks, 85-plus points in 6 out of the last 7 games. A high-powered offense, and DC really can score, but they're not short defensively. Go over 167.5. I know we didn't get to this game, but I want to make sure I give all my plays on really quickly. Darica Hamby over 6.5 rebounds, over 7 of the last 10, 8 out of 10 over the road in that matchup tonight. She's got to keep Iriafen off the boards. Look for Darica Hamby to go over 6.5 rebounds tonight.
JY, my reason for keeping this game for last, because I want to make sure we got to everything, and I'm glad we did. Cameron Brink, back sooner than later. How impactful can she be immediately? I imagine it'll move numbers, but I don't know if we should be backing or fading the Brink return.
Listen, she struggled a little bit, especially being in foul trouble. With Cameron Brink, maybe you look at the rebounds prop because she's pretty good defensively. It's all about can you keep her out of foul trouble. And I think that was her problem. But she had just started to turn the corner a little bit, Kevin, when she got hurt last year.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to follow. Supposed to be, another one of the stars of the WNBA. We'll see when Brink does officially return. Again, for myself, the Sky over their team total 71.5. Coach, we appreciate it. As always, we will update you on the Major League Baseball board. Also talk a little bit about the upcoming golf tournament right here on SportsGrid.
your approach with Marion Hampton is if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back nine of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're with you right here on SportsGrid Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh. Right now, the Major League Baseball board has the Guardians striking first on Baltimore. Miami up 2-0 on San Diego. Nerfy comes in Washington, Cincy, as well as Pittsburgh, Detroit. Phillies are threatening in the bottom of the first against the Boston Red Sox. I want to bring some golf into the fold here. We've got Brady Cannon, of course, to help us do just that. The 3M Open this week is a tournament. Usually, I feel, Brady, we'll see some marquee names at the top. With respect to Chris Gotterup, who's had himself a couple of good weeks here, I don't think that's the kind of name I would expect to see as the favorite at the 3M Open. I just want to start. Maybe I'm wrong. Please tell me if I am. Or is this a lighter field than you usually would see at a 3M?
Yeah, I would agree with you. It seems like we have seen a little bit more star power in the past. Now, Tony Finau's there, but, he has not been the Tony Finau that we're used to and a former winner of this event. It seems like we get more of a sprinkling of stars here typically, but I also understand these guys have been overseas for 2 weeks in a row. It's interesting that you mentioned Gotterup. I actually am looking to fade Chris Gotterup this week, despite how hot he's been. He won, obviously, the Scottish Open 2 weeks ago and just finished third at the Open Championship. And this guy is absolutely flying high, cloud 9 right now. And on top of all that, there's Ryder Cup talk. This guy's, that close to Scotty Scheffler in the eyes of many just after a couple weeks of golf, right? And here he is, the favorite coming to, this is uncharted waters for Chris Gotterup. He's got 2 PGA Tour wins in his lifetime. And I like the kid, and I hope he continues to do well. But it's like, wait, is this a little bit too much too fast? So I'm going to try and find a market to go against him this week.
Yeah, I think that is, totally fair. You mentioned Scotty. We'll talk some more options. I just want to. It's really selfish too. I just want your perspective on the Scotty versus Tiger stuff. And I understand Tiger is significantly more entertaining. That's fine. But in terms of comparing the two players, is that a fair comparison, or do you still feel that there are some, and listen, this will always happen, like there are some who say what Scotty's doing is more impressive because of the competition. Where do you land on Scotty versus Tiger? Because that is clearly a conversation right now after Scotty dominating this past weekend.
I think the competition thing is real. I think Tiger had Ernie Els, he had Phil Mickelson, he had Sergio Garcia. maybe VJ Singh in there a little bit, and it wasn't a whole lot else, it seems. A lot of times he was going up against, I can't even remember the guy's last name now. Chris finished runner-up in the Masters a couple times. Bob May, like good players, but not Rory McIlroy that's winning career Grand Slam type of stuff. So I think the competition is better for Scotty, and I do believe the comparisons are certainly warranted. Now, Scotty needs to do it for probably another 10 years before we really say, okay, yeah, he's equal, if not better. And then we start to add up how many major championships he has and all of that other stuff. I think he probably will complete the career Grand Slam in the next couple of years, if not in the next 12 months. All he needs now is the U.S. Open. Tiger, I would say, is probably more entertaining because he has more charisma. He has more swagger, the red shirt and the muscles and just the aura that he brought, the presence and the intimidation factor. And also, I remember, being in that, 25 years ago, Tiger used to really annoy me because all he did was win. And I was like, gosh, I just want to see some drama. I want to see Phil challenge him. I want to see some magic down the stretch and have Tiger pull it out in miracle-like fashion, like Rory just did at the Masters, when something is really compelling like that. Scotty sucks the drama right out of the golf tournament as well. He just doesn't do it with all the panache that Tiger used to. So I think the way they go about their business is very, very similar. It just is perceived differently. It looks differently. It has a different feel to it. But Tiger was a fantastic front runner. I think it was 34 times or something like that, 37 maybe, that he had the 54-hole lead that he went on to win. Scotty's now done it 11 times in a row, or 10 times. 10 times in a row that he's had the 54-hole lead. He's gone on to win, the 10th time being this past weekend at Royal Portrush. So I think the parallels are endless, really. You look at the stats. There's a number of numbers and situations and accomplishments that are nearly identical. I think it's more so the personality, really, that makes us think one is different from the other.
Yeah, which I know is a part of the Scotty lore. Interestingly enough, let's get to some of the bets for the people, because I don't want to then I start, giving all my thoughts. I think it's a very fascinating thing, but I know people, if they see Brady, they're like, great, we're going to get golf picks, and all of a sudden Kevin's giving his Scotty take, and I'll save people from that.
It's just as good, man, I mean, everybody wants to go right to the picks, but, I write for a living too, and sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my time waxing poetically.
Well, no, I don't think you are, because all right, fine. So I think it's fascinating. I think one of the things that Scotty lacks, to me, is a true rival. Because I think Rory, while at the Masters, that was a great moment, it still feels like you look at Rory in most of these events, like, well, that's not going to get it done. Bryson only shows up once every, 4 times a season because he's over at Live. Rahm, same thing. Also, I still can't get a handle on how good Rahm is, relatively speaking, right now. Victor Hovland 2 years ago was supposed to be a supernova. I don't even know if he's good at golf anymore. Colin Morikawa 3 years before that. I don't know if he has any win pedigree. Xander Schauffele a year ago. I don't remember. Have we talked about Xander Schauffele all season? Not that I remember. So who is supposed to be Scotty's rival? Again, maybe it was more so I was at a distance, but I feel like I heard more about VJ Singh and Phil Mickelson during those Tigers run. I was younger, sure, but who is Scotty's rival? I think that is missing, because if he's not going to bring it, you need the Brooks Koepka, the other guy, to poke and prod. And who is that guy?
I think it's probably, the best candidate. I mean, it's an easy answer to say Rory McIlroy, right? But I really think the best candidate is Jon Rahm. And you mentioned he's on Live, and that's really unfortunate, because I think if Rahm was going head-to-head with Scotty more often than just 4 times a year, we would get more of that developing. I mean, Rahm is one heck of a player. He wasn't completely right at Portrush. He had nearly everything right at Oakmont. He just couldn't make a putt. He was better than Scotty at Oakmont, really. He was better than a lot of people. If he would have been able to putt that week, he would have won. Rory seems to go hot and cold. I think, a lot of people will tell you that Rory's A game is better than anybody else's A game. And I'm not so sure that's not true. It just doesn't seem like we get it consistently. So right now, I think the big three is certainly Rahm, Rory, and Scotty. But, unfortunately, we don't get to see that play out all the time.
Yeah. All right, Brady, with the time that we have left, and I love the conversation, where are you at for this 3M Open?
I started with a couple of 35-1 shots, Taylor Pendrith and Max Gracerman. Gracerman is a guy that I've been, loving to go against here for a long time, but I think the timing might be right. The guy's finished runner-up 4 times, and he finished runner-up at this course not too long ago. So he could be ready to get it done. Then a couple of longer shots, Emiliano Grillo and Kevin Yu. And then Rico Hoey and Andrew Putnam. And then finally a triple-digit bomb on Kevin Roy, who came up just short for us a couple weeks ago at the John Deere Classic.
Awesome. Appreciate it as always, Brady. We'll be tuned in to the 3M Open certainly this week. We're going to take a quick break. We'll update you on that Major League Baseball board right around the corner.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, back with you right here on SportsGrid. 2-0 Phils with Castellanos getting a single. Marsh, catcher's interference. Wow.
It's running home.
It's Tom Vecchio's here. Tom Vecchio. The proper introduction. Future The Kevin Walsh Show guest, Tom Vecchio,
you know
is
what would
here.
be funny? If you just keep introducing me as future guest, and then I just never ever go on the show.
It'll be funny until you're like, what's going on here? I think he doesn't like me. So don't worry. We'll sort all that out. Let me just start here because there's a couple of NFL things I want to get to with Tom. There's a lot going on right now in the National Football League, training camp starting. But Tom, Major League Baseball board, what are you on? I'm sure you got a couple of things. Talk to me there.
So we need Kyle Schwarber to come through with a hit. We also need Kyle Tucker to come through with a hit. My hit parlay that I tweeted out earlier. I'm on the Astros full, Astros first 5, Brewers first 5, Cardinals full, and then I'm not going back to the Cubs at that price after last night.
All right. No trust in the. I actually kind of dipped into your bag. I played the Cubs and the Rays in a money line parlay. Just kind of, I don't know. Like, I didn't want to. I certainly was going to bet one of them. It's just like the two most. They have an advantage teams tonight. I paired them together. So that's one of the ways that I am attacking this board. Also went with the bad Pirates to beat the Tigers again. They are up 2-0. Yankees jumped on Toronto with, and not how you would anticipate. 4 batters in, it's 3-0. Aaron Judge, the lone man to not contribute. He struck out. Jazz Chisholm with the 3-run shot. Trent Grisham on his way, if you did play his hit-run RBI tonight on this slate. And that's where we are with the Major League Baseball board. We're going to stick around. There's a couple of NFL things I wanted to get to. And I gave Tom a challenge. Not a challenge. We asked Tom as a team if he could give us his top 6 rushing offenses heading into this upcoming season. Now, Tom, did you pick 6 teams or did you 1 through 6 it?
I have them 1 through 6 essentially.
Okay. We're going to put a pin in that. All right? I promise we're going to get to it, but listen, I know people are waiting for the top 6 rushing offenses. I want to start with the Terry McLaurin news. Doesn't report. I still think this is going to get done. So I'm a little surprised he didn't show up. It gave me a tick of hesitation. What did you make of Terry McLaurin not showing up?
It's an issue, and I keep coming back. Like we talked about this last week, and I said, just get it done by August 1st. Get it done by August 1st. You'll have the full training camp. You need the reps there. You need all those things. And this is what I keep having this internal thought about star players not getting it done, and I keep coming back to the same thing. Every offseason, Schefter or Rappaport will tweet out, so-and-so team restructures a deal with a player, and they freed up $18 million of cap space because now it's a signing bonus. The NFL salary cap doesn't exist. Sign the players, and in 3 years, restructure Terry's deal and give him the money as a signing bonus, which is what half the teams do. He's going to get his money. He's worth the money, especially that you want to have him as the consistent option in that offense. And then in 3 years, when the cap changes, restructure his deal, and poof, you got $12 million of cap space freed up, and now it's just you award it to him as a signing bonus. It's over here, it's over there, tomato. Give him the money, get him at camp, and stop messing around.
Now, if you think the Terry McLaurin stuff is frustrating, stay right in that division and just think about everything the Dallas Cowboys are doing. Jane Slater caught up with Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs, actually, at their first practice today. Parsons was asked about the Jerry Jones comments where he was pretty negative he was prodding Micah a little bit. Here was Parsons' response to those comments from Cowboys owner Jerry Jones.
I know you and Jerry have a pretty close relationship, and I know you have respect for each other, but stuff gets said in the media. Have you had a conversation with him after yesterday's presser?
No, but I'm gonna talk to him. I just thought, as a whole, everyone's situation is differently. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm here for my teammates. I'm not here to please another grown man. I'm here for them. I want to be here with Trey, watch him rehab, watch him get on the field, watch his growth. I want to be here battling with Terrence Steele. I'm here for these guys. I'm not here for him. So I think, at the end of the day, he's on the field with us. We're on the field playing the games and things like that. So I'm going to just control my teammates, keep boosting it, and, we're just going to keep playing together.
Let me just say this. As that was playing, Tom Vecchio made the same exact face that I made the first time I heard that. So, because Micah Parsons does not sound all too pleased with Jerry Jones. So I ask you this, Tom, scale of 1 to 10. Chances Micah Parsons is not playing for the Dallas Cowboys week 1 of this upcoming NFL season? Scale of 1 to 10.
Right now, it's a 3.
Okay.
And
not
it's
a 0.
3, maybe. It's not a 0, 3 or 4. And listen, when we talk about contract stuff or when we talk about whatever it might be, literally anything in the NFL, there has to be a separate caveat when we're talking about the Cowboys because Jerry Jones is terrible. So, this owner didn't pay this player, and then, they eventually got him signed, whatever it might be. Anytime we're dealing with the Cowboys, you need to have an asterisk next to it because Jerry Jones doesn't know what he's doing. Happened last year with CeeDee Lamb, happened with Dak Prescott, whatever it might be, it's always a different situation when it comes to Dallas. So, right now, concern level, if you're a Cowboys fan, I would say it's a 3 or 4 that he's not playing week 1.
Yeah, I think that is a strong number. I think, to me, this is my biggest thing. That should be a 0. It should be absolutely, because he should already be signed. And I think if you are Parsons, any leeway that you wanted to extend to Dallas, that lessens the more Jerry talks. So now Parsons may be more inclined to, you know what, I'm not playing week 1, man. Because of the way Jerry appears to be antagonizing. The top 6 rushing offenses for next season and a potential final bounce back spot. Talk about it next right here on SportsGrid.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions with you on this Tuesday night. We are joined by Tom Vecchio. Tom, there is a player who very well could be entering his last season in the National Football League. So he very well may have shown up for his final training camp today. And that would be Travis Kelce. And I think the reality on Travis Kelce entering into this season is he would not be needed to be elite. Even if he can't be anymore, they may not need him to be because Xavier Worthy enters year number 2 and Rashee Rice was supposed to be back in full effect. Well, Rashee Rice is very likely to be suspended for the first month, if not more, of the season. So if you remove that, and now instead of saying Worthy's definitely going to get better, there maybe is a level of hesitation. And if you grab the first 4 games of the season for Kansas City, they play the Chargers in Brazil, Philadelphia, go to the Giants, and then play the Baltimore Ravens. It's not easy. Do you think that this team can rely on, what level can they rely on Travis Kelce, Tom, heading into this upcoming season?
I want to say that Travis Kelce will be, I want to say, the foundation of their offense, right? And then you have growth from a Worthy. Like when Rice comes back, you have him, Hollywood Brown being there from the start. So he's the foundation of the offense, and he will hopefully do as is needed. So he will, we need to have 50 yards and 4 catches and 1 touchdown. Sure. You need to have 9 catches and 80 yards and no touchdown. Sure. Because the other pieces of the offense are moving. So as long as he's consistent, that's what I would like to see from a betting perspective, from all these perspectives. Like if he's consistent, he doesn't need to be explosive. He doesn't need to have a massive ceiling year where he has 1,000 yards and 9 catches every game. But if he's consistent, that will make the rest of the offense dangerous because it's like, okay, we have our safety net. Now we can expand on Xavier Worthy. Now we can expand once Rice comes back, and we can do all these things, and that will make their offense better overall if you have at least a foundation in place.
Yeah, my take on Kelce, I think he actually could be in line for a bounce-back season with Rice clearing out. His 725.5 receiving yards prop is a number that he has never gone under in his career. He has at least 820 yards in every single season of his career. But if you look at his past 2 seasons, under 1,000 receiving, it coincides with Mahomes slowing up. If Mahomes is going to ramp up, maybe that then can coincide with Kelce ramping up, especially in that touchdown department. All right, Tom, top 6 rushing offenses heading into the NFL season. What's that list look like?
Ravens, Eagles.
Number 1?
Ravens, number 1.
Whoa!
Better than the Eagles in basically every metric last year.
Whoa! All right.
Better yards per attempt, more yards overall, and in fewer attempts overall, and more yards per game if you want to keep it simple. So Ravens, Eagles, Lions, and then this is where it gets interesting because we can make a case for a number of teams. I like the Packers. I think we make a case for the Falcons there.
Okay.
And then this last spot is where it gets a little bit dicey. Bucs/Bills, because I'm very high on Bucky Irving, and I think James Cook is a good running back. But James Cook is also not the type of running back where you're like, oh, he's going to give us 1,400 yards at a minimum. And if things go well, it's like, he's gotten to 1,100 yards. He barely got to 1,000 last year. I think he's good personally. And with the Josh Allen factor, like, okay, maybe he doesn't need to have 1,500 yards every season, but at least he's going to be a healthy aspect of their offense.
I actually do think that the Baltimore ranking is fine because I think Lamar is that special. But I think the Eagles' offensive line is better enough, but that's not what. Here's my favorite question, and really what led to us asking you this, and I appreciate you playing along. Any consideration for the New York Jets?
I mean, I would have them. I can make the case for them to be like an 8, 9, 10, 12, somewhere around there. Like they're not like 30, they're not 25, but they are going to be in the upper half, definitely.
I would say. I would say this, and I've gained more respect for Josh Jacobs as, we did the running back list on the podcast. We've talked about it. I think the Packers being comfortably inside, right? Like, I could see them and the Jets being a battle. I think Buffalo should be comfortably. I think Buffalo should actually be like 3rd. I think there's a lot of security with Buffalo. I think it's going to be a heck of an NFL season. We'll talk about it with Tom as it gets closer and closer. Let's talk a little college football. You know who is up next.
your approach with Marion Hampton is if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back nine of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, game time decisions with you on this Tuesday night. Major League Baseball board fills up 4-0. Schwarber has himself a solo shot. Toronto gets one back from the New York Yankees as that one is 3-1. Pittsburgh extend 3-0 on Detroit. Angel Martinez 2+ hit run RBI. It's 2-0 Guardians. Tampa Bay has them juiced. They could open it up against the White Sox. Reds lead 1-0 on the Nats. Chase Burns has it going early with 6 Ks through 3 innings, just 1 hit allowed. Angels score first against the New York Mets. Nerfy comes in, Braves, Giants. That is where we are on the Major League Baseball board. We are now joined, though, by Joe Lisi, folks, because college football is around the corner. Joe, it is great to see you. It is incredible just how close we truly are.
I can't believe it. Actually, 31 days since August 23rd. It's going to be a great week 0 slate. I tell you, I miss you, buddy. I want to talk college football. Week 0, week 1, him. I can't wait. I can't wait. Getting juiced up. Getting all juiced up.
Now, last time we had Joe, we talked a little SEC, and we're going to talk some Big Ten today. But I figure, considering Lisi's here, considering the background, considering the news, the Honey Badger did retire today, Lisi. And I think anyone would agree, but certainly you, the best moments of his career came in the purple and gold, playing at LSU in Baton Rouge, where he was a legitimate Heisman candidate. And I just wondered your thoughts with Tyrann Mathieu hanging it up, no longer going to be with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, one of the best college corners and just ball hawks that we've seen. And we talk about LSU, now known as wide receiver U, with all the talent that they put out. But prior to that, it was the Honey Badger, Patrick Peterson, Morris Claiborne, and all the great DBs for LSU down in Baton Rouge. He was always around the football, a game changer, gave it 150%. And even on the NFL level, I mean, transformed really the position. They crept him up on the line of scrimmage. He was utilized in run blitzes. Just a great player, and hate to see him go, but I'm sure he'll be in broadcasting before you know it.
So now let's get over to the Big Ten, Lisi. We did have the media days, and there's some teams who are going to want to nip at the heels of the big boys, right? Who could potentially find their way in. What I think's interesting is the Big Ten poll came out, I believe the coaches poll, and it's not the reigning national champions receiving the most votes. It's Penn State and Drew Aller getting a lot of buzz for the Big Ten.
Well, it has to be, Kev, because think about returning quarterbacks. And for Oregon and Ohio State, you have first-year starters, Dante Moore and whoever wins the job at Ohio State, right? And Drew Aller is the most experienced quarterback coming back with the two top running backs that Ohio State had last year in Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson. Now you have Katron Allen and Nate Singleton. So it's the same type of offense that they had similar to Ohio State. It's do or die for James Franklin right now. It really is. I'm sorry. There is no margin of error. There's no more excuses. You made it to the college football playoff against Notre Dame. You had two gimme games that they were able to walk through and basically hand them a semifinal playoff position. Now they have to beat the big boys. They have to take care of business against Ohio State. You can't lead 10-0 in your stadium and throw for 120 yards and be completely handcuffed in the second half. That can't happen anymore. There's no margin of error. They deserve on paper to be there, but now they have to step up. And again, when you look at Ohio State, it's not just the offense. Jeremiah Smith is there, but losing Jim Knowles to Penn State, I mean, really takes a step back for Ryan Day and the Buckeyes. They're a 10.5 win total. I would sell it immediately. I'm going under. I think they're a 10-2 football team at best.
So let's stick then with that Ohio State notion, Joe, because it's not just Jim Knowles who leaves, and maybe that's the most impactful because where he lands with Penn State. It's also Chip Kelly who ends up leaving and now is with the Vegas Raiders as an offensive coordinator. And a lot of people feel is the turnaround for the Buckeyes, a lot of that was Chip Kelly and the way that he adjusted for this football team. Yet there's still so much buzz, I think, around this offense because Jeremiah Smith really did take college football by storm last year. And we have another 2 seasons, assuming in Columbus, being one of the best players in the country. Selling Ohio State for you, is that about the offense, the defense, the schedule? What is the reason why?
It's everything. It's exactly what you said. Here, you have new first-year starters at the running back position. You have a new quarterback. And again, you talk about Chip Kelly and Matt Patricia on the defensive side of the ball. And even though they're experienced play callers now, Patricia in the NFL, we talk about understanding talent. Play callers, defense, whether they're running the same type of scheme or not, they're like pitchers. They have to get into a rhythm. Could take a couple of games to get into that rhythm. Could take a month. Might not ever happen. Look at the situation with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL side. They never were consistent from the start of the season to the end of the season, offensively and defensively, a couple of years ago. Again, they have to understand, coordinators, how that talent responds in game situations, and then they might be more or less aggressive than Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles last year, right? So let's say on first down, Jim Knowles wants to play, zone. What happens if Patricia wants to start with man-to-man and start like that? You get different results based off the play calls, and that rhythm could take a whole season to develop. I'm willing to bet against it. The only team that has modern day, we've seen coordinators move on and just rotate, right? Like that machine was Nick Saban in Alabama, right? Where he was able to take Brian Dable, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, all the defensive coordinators and never miss a beat. But that is not the norm, and that's why I think it's an outlier. I'm willing to sell them.
And let's be clear on Ohio State, because you're right. Bama was a machine. Ohio State wasn't a machine last season. Ohio State was a football team who some people were annoyed they were even in the playoff kind of because of that uninspiring result to Michigan. I understand that they were bulldozer style in a lot of those football games, down the stretch, but it's not a team. It's such a great point, Joe. They are nowhere near Saban's group. And I'll say on top of this, right, you bring up the Philly point, which is a good one. even Detroit, the Lions are going to go through it this year with the changing coordinators. The thing is, at times in the National Football League, where do we know Ben Johnson's great? Do we know Aaron Glenn is great? I know that Chip Kelly, as an offensive coordinator in college football, is slam dunk. I know that Jim Knowles, as a defensive coordinator in college football, is slam dunk. So that is so concerning, and that's maybe another reason why, Lisi, that poll looked the way it did, giving Penn State that love.
Yeah, and think about it. Jim Knowles didn't transform Ohio State's defense in one season. Took a couple of years, right? Now, Penn State's defense happens to be the strong suit of that unit over the past couple of years. They've went through Tom Allen and Manny Diaz. So that was the mainstay and the consistency. What do you get out of Cole Wickey and this offense right now? It's up to Drew Aller. I can't have 120 yards, or I can't have Drew Aller throwing for 30 yards and hitting his tight end on every play and can't hit a wideout in a big game. That cannot happen in 2025. Just can't.
No, but the Knowles point is relevant to Penn State. Look, I'm not, there in my preparation. I know who I like to win the Big Ten, but that's something that'll be in the back of my head is, Jim is great for Penn State, but is it great immediately? Is it great? Is it good enough to get this team to a national championship? Those are the questions. There's a lot of other relevant teams in the Big Ten, like Michigan, like Nebraska, Wisconsin. We'll talk about them next with Joe Lisi on SportsGrid.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is, if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient, because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back nine of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me. And I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him. And I've settled on, what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Taking a look at the Big Ten, where could there be some value? We'll reset your Major League Baseball board in just a little bit. If you want to root in that Major League Baseball board, SportsGrid's not shy of options, in-game live, but also Carver and Lisi will be starting at 8 o'clock. We have one half of the fantastic radio show that is Carver and Lisi with Joe Lisi here with us right now. Are your eyes wandering at all, Joe? Are you following any baseball right now?
I am. I have my eye boots on the ground in Philadelphia with the Boston Red Sox and Phillies. This Sanchez, I hope they wrap him around a telephone pole tonight. Let's go up over 10.5 runs. How about that? I'm tired of these unders.
You might need the Phils to get all. Oh, Red Sox put one into the seats. Rob Refsnyder. Whoa.
There we go. All right.
Wow. Ask and you shall receive. All right. So listen, as I collect myself, because that just brings a smile. Let's hear from one of Lisi's favorite coaches in the Big Ten about the expectations that are awaiting for Nebraska this upcoming college football season.
It's a much different feeling when you walk in with a bunch of guys that now they know they're good. And some of them, they're the same players. They're just good because they're a year into the system. And that 250-pound guy is now 280-pound guy. So I'm an incrementalist. I believe in just getting a little bit better every year. I got great news. Nothing that happened last year carries over into this year. And that's a good thing, right? Like the Iowa loss at the end of the year was really, really probably painful, but sometimes it's the pain you need. It's the pain that spurs you forward in the offseason when, guys get a little bit complacent. And there's no complacency at the University of Nebraska right now. Our guys all understand that we've got good enough players. Well, we have an excellent roster. We're fast. We're explosive. We've got veterans where we need to. We're good on the lines. We've got great coaches. But we're going to have to go perform. And that performance comes from guys owning it and not listening to anything else, not listening to the guy in the locker room complaining, like shutting all that up and saying, hey, Husker football, it's about performance. It's about us going out there and getting it done.
There's some buzz, Lisi. There's some buzz. He says the roster's good enough. He says the 250-pound guys are up to 280. I tell you, that's the kind of encouragement I like. Okay, Dubs, when he went from 250 to 280, it wasn't as exciting to everybody else. I'm just putting that in the back pocket. 7.5 win total. Matt Rule, any love?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this. When you made that transition, the technique and footwork was still there. Let me tell you, coming off firing out on all cylinders. Let me tell you, I saw it firsthand. Biggest thing Matt Rule did was get back to a bowl game, right? They were 7-6 last year. They got over the hump, but he transformed the interior line. And that's the biggest thing when you look a couple of years ago. They were giving up 190 rushing yards per game. Past couple of seasons, 92 rushing yards per game allowed on the defensive side of the ball. And last year, right around 100. They continue that type of development with Dominic Raiola and a 7.5 win total. Sky's the limit. Now, was Raiola like, the all-world 5-star Jaden Daniels type of athlete that we thought? No, he had growing pains, but now in year number 2, he should exceed and overachieve. And again, 7.5, if this team gets to 9, potentially 10, they can be there with that defense.
Yeah, I think, Joe, it's a really interesting football team. I think Michigan, though, is one of the most interesting in the country because of the hype on Bryce Underwood. Is that still the expectation that we will see Bryce Underwood as the starter for Michigan football this upcoming season? Because I know that they ended up bringing in – who did they end up bringing in for Michigan this upcoming season? Did they not bring in a name for that quarterback room?
Now you got me crazy. Now I'm trying to think. What do you mean, like a big-time recruit? Bryce Underwood
Garcia,
was the guy.
but that's not helping me in the back.
Garcia.
No, Jake Garcia from
no. They brought in Mikey Keene from Fresno.
Yeah, Mikey Keene.
Garcia. I have no idea. They brought in Mikey Keene after Mikey Keene played them. They were on the radar when they covered that. Garcia, I have no idea. I don't know.
This guy, Garcia, is working at State Farm. Come on.
Man.
Come on.
Let me tell you. Bryce Underwood has to be the starter. You don't recruit him and lure him away from LSU. Give him a boatload of money and then put him on the pine for Mikey Keene that transferred from Fresno State. Mikey Keene is a dual threat. He's a good quarterback. But Bryce, you live and die with Bryce Underwood this year. You have to. There is no way that this team is going to go anywhere and compete for a 10-win season. And here's the thing: they got one of the easiest schedules. If they, let me ask you this: if they, let's just say, go 8-4, is he on the hot seat?
I don't know. I mean, they have to trend up. I think no, because you're gonna. You know why? Because you have to keep Bryce Underwood there, and I don't think you start firing coaches, Lisi, and that starts to, that opens up the portal.
But Kev, you're talking about elite. You go to the national championship game, you win. You regress in year 1. You regress in year 2. When do you make that assessment whether Sharon Moore is the guy that can lead your team to the next level? Do you wait for year number 3 and Penn State and Oregon and Ohio State have surpassed you? They're worth a 10-1 number. It's just, what does this offense look like this year with Bryce Underwood? Are they going to give him the keys to the bus to allow him to be the type of player that he was in high school? If so, then the 10-1 number is worthy. The quarterback with the most pressure right now has to be Dante Moore and Drew Aller. Those are the two guys. Dante Moore transfers in for Dylan Gabriel. You go 13-0 in the regular season. You better step up and not be the player that you were in UCLA in year 1.
Yeah, I mean, Aller coming back. I think there's so much on Drew Aller's plate. But, I mean, look, Dante Moore could be electric. Lisi, I look forward to breaking this all down. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a couple of Jake Garcia games we could break down as well.
Jake
Garcia. I need those Heisman odds. All right, we'll get you some Tuesday tags. Carver and Lisi starts in 10. Make sure you're there. We'll be right back. It's Game Time Decisions.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is, if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient, because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark injured. Asia Wilson not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on, what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, with you right here on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions. Always a treat to have Lisi stop by. Really appreciate everybody who's been in the mix. Brady Cannon, of course, Tom Vecchio, Coach James Young, getting us set here for tonight's action. Let's just re-rack and reset where we need to, see maybe if we put any winners on the board just yet. Best bets tonight, Chicago Sky team total over the 71.5. As they match up with the Minnesota Lynx, the W is back. Yarnell goes to the W as well. He's backing the Mystics against the Sparks. That game is underway. Washington up 10 at the end of that first quarter. Let's root Manny Machado in for Casino Chris. Need a little bit of juice out of that Padres group right now. They do trail the Marlins 2-1 as that one is through 5. I think Machado is due up, though, next inning. Maybe he'll put one into the seats. Cubs on the run line for AJ as he's going to fade Rich Hill, which is a little bit of a theme here. For myself, Nico Herner put one in the seats. That's plus 870 going up against Rich Hill. Francisco Alvarez for Chris, that is in action. James Wood for Sam, that is in action. Josh Lowe, 6-1 for AJ in action as well. Chase Burns did work out of a little bit of trouble. I'm fascinated to see if he goes back out there. He had an outs recorded prop of 15.5. He has 5 innings. He's given up 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 9 Ks, only 70 pitches. I would imagine Chase Burns gets another go here, especially since they let him face Abrams and Wood a third time. I would think Burns continues to pitch for Cincinnati despite losing at the moment 3-1 in that game. The Major League Baseball card for me, Pirates in action, up 5-0 on Detroit. Pirates don't look now all of a sudden handling what was the team with the best record in Major League Baseball. We're on the under 8.5. Phil's Red Sox goes head-to-head with Lisi, and we didn't even know it. Still to come, Diamondbacks Astros under the 8.5. As you have got, I think, a double bounce back spot for Eduardo Rodriguez and the excellent Framber Valdez getting the ball for Houston. We have that Rays-Cubs moneyline parlay, and then the game that headlined our show from the top, it's Logan Gilbert versus Jacob Mizorowski. The Milwaukee Brewers at 60-40 enter today's slate with the best record in the bigs, looking for a 12th consecutive victory. And a number of these wins have been coming as an underdog. I thought this would lead to myself getting a better price on the Mariners' money line. I didn't think that was the case. With the streak, Mizorowski's potential name, the Mariners continue to run. They're now above minus 130, actually, when you start to look around the market. I didn't want to pay that price. I didn't think I'd have to pay that price. I'm seeing 136 in one area. I laid the run line at plus 177. Looking to get a plus price here for the Mariners to get the job done. And if they get the job done, they get it done in a major way. We'll see. Perhaps Cal Raleigh could start to piece things together, who has actually now, out of the break, recorded a couple of hits that are not home runs. Yet to homer, though, since the All-Star break, which is still something, of course, that we are tracking. Aaron Judge, though, also a gnarly 0-for-2. Now really struggling to start this series against Toronto. And that brings his batting average all the way down to 347. Plenty of time for Aaron Judge to pop that back up to 350. Maybe within this game, not all hope is lost. Do not forget that we have in-game live coming up for you tonight, fully covering this board here of Major League Baseball action and a WNBA slate that is full of options, including Liberty Fever. I was a little bit interested in the Fever when they were up to 11. That is a dropping number we are seeing right now, down to even 9.5, I think, in a couple of spots there as they go up against New York and the Barclays Center. I passed on that game. I did play the Chicago Sky's team total over going up against the Minnesota Lynx, where I think you can see the combo of Reese and Cardoza continue to get the job done despite the absence of Ariel Atkins. We'll see how this all plays out here for you. We appreciate everybody getting in the mix with us on Game Time Decisions on this Tuesday night. We'll, of course, be back in the fold on Thursday. Joe Ranieri, as always, will hold it down tomorrow. In-game live next right here on SportsGrid. Carver and Lisi, of course, on SportsGrid Radio.